Okay, everybody, I am so sorry for the delay. This weekly members only webcast has been a bit of a gong show, you might say, a comedy of errors. Even today, seems like the tools we're using to make this work are very dependent on Google's APIs, and they keep on changing their APIs. So it's been challenging. So 20 minutes late almost, but we're good to get going. So um, first, what I want to do is I always do. I just want to do a mic check and camera check, make sure everybody can hear and see me. Um, there's a chat box there on the right, so please just pop in there and just give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear what I'm saying, and that I'm not just talking to thin air. So we've got D, Emma, and Sue currently in here right now. So I just want to make sure you guys are seeing this. Okay, excellent. Hey, Emma. Emma, it was really great getting to meet you and the family. I look rested since you last saw me. That I shouldn't, because I'm actually in Seattle today, looking over Lake Washington's beautiful view, um, and uh, and the flight last night with the kids wasn't the easiest thing, but we got there. Okay, so um, yeah, so I'm on Mercer Island in Seattle right now, and it's not warm, but it's certainly I think it's certainly warmer than Toronto. So um, okay. What I'd like to do is just leave this open to thank you, D. so um, what I'd love to do is take cues from you guys. Um, what is it? Is there anything you guys want to cover today? I Let me just check to see if I got any. Uh, got any mail? I believe I did. People are asking about students. So, the questionnaire came in. So yeah, so go ahead and just if there's anything in there, uh, anything you guys want to cover, just go ahead and type it into the chat box. And what we can do is actually do a quick poll. Here, I'll just say what should I cover? Oops. So let's take some votes. Send a poll to everybody. So what I'd love to do with this session, since it's if anybody has like questions on how they can use the existing tools, not really like necessarily how tos, we can do that, but questions about, I think the most value here is questions about how to perform like a useful task, something that something that could save time. Like, is there a way to do this, or is there a way to do that, and how would we do it using the hubbli tool set? So one thing I've discovered a lot of schools asking for is how to, like, just create a simple sign up list that works kind of like Sign Up Genius, where something where parents can volunteer for, maybe have an event, and the event has a bunch of things that parents, that you need people to volunteer to part, ways to participate with the event. Could be you know um, it could be who's going to bring the chicken salad, and who's going to set up the chairs. So Emma says yes, that's what you're going to ask. That's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how schools are doing this on Hubbly, and it's actually really easy to do, and it uses tools that Hubbly has that are all set. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. Okay. So I'll create. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and then I'm going to go and create a kind of like a fake event. Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to get this queued up. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Whoa, crazy effects. Okay, so here we are on the Hubblyville demo school. So this is like pretty basic, more or less an essentials version of Hubbly, as far as what it looks like when you log in. Um, and So let's say we want to create like a page for, we're going to do an event, and we want parents to participate and to help us. The place we're going to start first with a form, because this is basically just creating right now. The first thing we're going to do is create a basic sign up form. So I'm going to go into the dashboard. So here we are in the Hubbly dashboard. I'm going to go into forms. I'm going to new form, create new form. And we'll call this Jono's fake sign up form. Now you're gonna have to accept my apologies that when we are doing this type of webcast, everything I do is going to take longer. Not only is it going to seem longer because there's a lag, but it literally slows down the machine and the browser and everything. So things are going to just be a lot slower than normal. So what we've got here is, we're just starting out with the basic form, and so let's just say we're going to keep it simple for now, but we're going to create some options that we want parents to select. So I'm going to go ahead and just create, let's see here. I'm going to go to advanced fields and just throw in a name. So if I click on the name, that now shows up in the form editor. And And we'll just keep it basic right now. So just the name, and then I'm gonna add a radio button. Make it check boxes. No, radio buttons. Okay, so radio buttons. Radio buttons are meant for people being able to select one at a time. With check boxes, they can select many options at once, but we're just going to keep this real simple. So we'll just call this volunteer options, and we'll say these are the things that parents can do to volunteer and participate in helping run this event. So let's just say hmm, we'll make it some food options, some standard food options like or food supplies, paper plates, cutlery, say um, cups. We're going to bring the tables. We're going to bring the chairs. Adding a few more options here. I also want to show you that another way to add options to all of these different either individual or multi-select, you can go down here, bulk add options. If you click on that, you can just add it in here as well. So let's say you have a list, you can just copy and paste it in there and it'll create an option for each one. So I'm just going to continue in here now. Chairs, let's say we need someone to bring egg salad, and we need someone to bring coleslaw. Oops. An event without coleslaw. Okay. Now, insert those. No, those are now there. I'm going to get rid of a couple here. Okay. Also, you have this option here to enable limits. So for each one of these, you can say, you just need one person. This can also be used for dates, right, or times. So I'm gonna do two different types of selects here. So I'm gonna actually now copy this. So let's say you want people to actually come in for different time slots. So we'll call this volunteer. I'll just call it time slots. So here I'm going to edit this. So it's not. So let's just say, we've got 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So obviously this is like a pretty manual way to do it, but it makes it completely flexible. So now let's say 10:30 a.m. to 11, and then 11 to a.m. and then the last one 11:30 a.m. to 12. Okay. So maybe this is like maybe there's a dance at the school. No, that would be more for high school, but there's an endless amount of scenarios where you want people to come in and do something. This type of thing could also be used for parent-teacher conferences, for anything. Okay, so again, we'll enable limits. So we're going to keep that checked, and we're going to add one limit for each. So we only want one person. But if you wanted to make it two, you can make it two, and then two people could sign up for each one of those time slots. Maybe you need two people per time slot. So there you go. That's how you do it. And what'll happen is once that limit is hit, that option will disappear from the list, and nobody else will be able to select it. Okay, so a nice simple list here, and I'm going to go ahead and update this. Couple more things for just basic form management. If we go into the settings, we've got confirmations and we've got notifications. So confirmations, what is that? I'm going to click on that for a second. By default, forms are kind of used for contacting forms, parent inquiry, interest, things like that. So it comes, every form when it's created has this default, thank you, thanks for contacting us. We'll get in touch with you. So if we want to edit that default, we've got a lot of options. This is how, this is where Hubbly forms can get really, really powerful. But we're just going to go ahead and update this, and we're going to call this. We're just going to say some basic entry, received. We'll give it a little formatting so it looks nice. There you go, entry received. And even if you want, you have an option also after it entered, it can take them to another page on the site. So if you had selected, I'll just go ahead and update this for now. So let's say you wanted to rather, after they submit it, you want them to go to another page on the site. So if you select that option, you could hit this drop down and select any page on your site, or you could literally direct them to any URL. This could take them to a Facebook group or anything. You just type whatever URL in that field, and after they hit submit, it'll take them to that page. But we're just going to stick with the basic entry receipt. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. And then the other thing here is notifications. So by default, whoever the site admin is, generally the person at your school that created your Hubbly site or someone else that you switch them to, will get the submission here. So you can actually, there's this default submission. So anytime this gets submitted, that the site admin is going to get an email with all of the information from that form that was submitted. And since I'm not looking at my screen right now, I'm just going to jump back to see if there's any questions. Nope, no questions. Okay, going back to the groups. Okay, so this form is now created, and it's good to go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a page, because this is like a custom thing. So, and just so you know, another thing is anytime a form is created, it is added by default to your Hubbly Forms page, just to make sure everybody's fully aware of that. And I'm sure you guys are, but I always like to just go over these basics. Here's the Hubbly Forms page, and I made that form, and by default it shows up here. So I'll just scroll down to, they're alphabetically listed. Jono's fake sign up form. So if I go and click on that, this is, a link to the form, and here it is. This is the form I just created. So, these fields, they can actually pre-populate emails and the usernames and everything of the parents. But I'm just keeping it, just for speed's sake, I'm just keeping this really fast and basic here. And so this is the form. Now, here's the thing is we can actually, if we look back here on the all forms page, if you hover over this button, there's a view entries, right? So if I click on the view entries, that'll take me to a page where the entries are. Currently there's no entries. Why don't I go ahead and add one in? I'll just say, oh no, and I'm going to bring in paper plates, and I'm going to volunteer between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. and I'm going to submit that. And again, because we're doing this webinar, everything's taking a long time. Good time to take a sip of coffee if you have. I'm in Seattle, and so I'm drinking Starbucks coffee. Every time I come to Seattle, my running joke is anytime I see a Starbucks and I'm with somebody, I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys have Starbucks too?" Then everyone's like, "Starbucks started in Seattle," and I say, "I know." Okay, so entry is received. So we've got confirmation. Now, if I go back to forms here and I click on view entries, I'm going to go ahead and click on the view entries link, and I'm going to open it up in a new tab over here. And what we're going to see is we're going to see a view of the entry that, or all the entries that were submitted. So far it's just one. So John O'Landon he's bringing the paper plates. Now for things like volunteer signups, it can be really handy for everybody to see, who's doing what. Let's say you're doing like you just want to see who's coming in from 10:30 to 11. It's might be handy either. Now you can control who can see what in this list. So just by default, guys, I just want to make sure you're clear. All you have to do is make a form. You make the form in the form editor, and by doing so, it automatically shows up on your forms page, and you automatically get this list view, right? So if you go to the forms page, it's going to show up here, and this list view is going to be there, and so you can always see the entries. But it can be really handy with these signups to have one page that kind of combines those two, the form, like a simple sign up form, and the entries to be right on the same page and always updated and dynamic, right? So that's what I want to talk about today. How do we like make a custom sign up form page for a scenario that's just a simple sign up, for somebody, parents or whatnot selecting options, and then the list of who selected what right there all in one page. So that's the next step here. So now that we've covered just what happens when you make a form, we're going to go back to the dashboard, and we're going to create a new page. We're going to click Add New under the Pages. All right, great. Now, I'm just going to call this Jono's Test Sign Up Page. And now I'm not really going to, you can add pictures and anything you want into this page in this content section, but I'm just going to go ahead and add that form that I just created. Jono's fake sign up form. There we go. I'm going to actually go ahead and remove the title. We don't even need the title. So I've inserted form, and I'll close it. Now, after I hit insert form, you'll see this code here. Now that code means that form is placed there. And I'm going to go just one step below it here, and I'm going to add a view. So this view is the actual list, that same listing of the entries. So I'm going to click Jono's fake sign up form right from the view list. You're going to hit insert. Okay, so now we've got the gravity, the form and the view, and I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. So we've created a page, and I'm going to preview this to you guys in 1 second once this finishes publishing. I'll go over to this page here. There we go. So this is what that page looks like now. Now again, we can add anything we want on top of this form, but if you see here, what we have is the sign up form, right? Name, options, and then right below it, the list, the entries list. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in a couple more entries. And so Jono, blah, blah, and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter. All right, then I'm going to bring the tables. And I just want to show you that I selected this one the last time, but we put a limit of 2 on it. So I'm going to hit it again, and let's see what happens. Okay, entry received. So, and we can see that that second entry here is right here. Now there's 2 entries. So now the question is, how do you make this available and really easy to find to parents? Well, of course, every page has a direct link. Like, you can just copy the URL. But what we want to do actually is make this really easy to find, like, because you want to just tell people, like, go to the site and you'll see it. So there's a few different ways of doing that. The most obvious one is to put it into the navigation. So I'm going to go under Appearance and go to Menus. So I'm going to actually add this page into the menu of the site, so that this is something you can pull on and off, whenever you want. So here's Jono's test sign up page. So I'm going to click that, and I'll just hit add to menu, because that's the custom page I just made. Now it's right there after the directory. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save menu. And let's just click on the logo to go to the home page. And there it is, Jono's test sign up page. So if this is if I click on that, there it is. Parents can easily get to this sign up form and see you can see who's signed up. All right. So let's take a look if there's any questions that have popped up about this. Okay, Emma, sounds like you had some audio difficulties. Hope everything's working. Does anybody have any questions about other ways you can utilize these same features, or um, any specific questions about what you've seen here? What was the second kind of button you used on the form? So I'm not sure what you mean by second kind of button. And I'm like on the form. Are you referring to when I made the page and I added the form and then I added the list view? Okay. So, Emma, actually, both of them I used radio buttons. I made the first list using radio buttons, and then I made the second list by simply copying the first list and then editing it. So the second list was also radio buttons, but you can use checkboxes, drop downs, multi-select. We have a whole bunch of different kinds of you know uh, inputs. But what I always like to show people how easy it is to copy, because once you make a list, you can just hit copy and then you can edit it. Would like to offer alternate dates for a meeting and get best date for parents. Yeah, so that's something that that we do a lot with the forums as well. Um, you're asking about how to offer different dates for parents. Yeah, Emma. You're asking like a doodle poll, and that's actually pretty accurate. It's not really a poll. Oh wait, is that what you mean? Okay, sorry, I was actually thinking something else. Um, but you can actually do both. You can offer dates where parents can come and select dates, and they just can select a session, and then it's not available to somebody else. But you can also do a poll. Let me show you how to do a poll. That's something that's really easy to do inside Hubbly, and it can be really beneficial for for your staff. Doodle polls are great, obviously, and let me show you how Hubbly does that. So I'm gonna go ahead, and this will be the last thing we do for today, but I'm just gonna share my screen again and jump back into Hubbly. Here we go. So let's create here, I'm going to create a new form. We're going to do this with a form, guys. The forms are kind of like, the most flexible and powerful thing. So let's call this a scheduling poll. Okay, so this is something that, parent volunteer groups or staff meetings or anything like that. Oh, there's already a form like that. So let's just jump into that one. So let's take a look. Must be in the trash. Where is it? Oh, bear with me a second. I'm gonna show my list change my list forms per page from 20 to 100 so I can see everything in one screen view. Okay, so I've got a scheduling poll thing here. So let's take a look at that one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you on the front of the site under the forums. I'll show you what the scheduling poll looks like, and I'll show you how it was made after that. We'll start from the end result first since it's already made. There we go. So here's the scheduling poll, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Okay, so check it out. So this was you know, a simple, scheduling poll. So like when people come in, if they're logged in, it shows their name already, and then they can just select whatever meeting they want or whatever option. So let's say you've got some options for meetings, and you want a group of people, group of members of your school community to vote on what day is the most you know you want to see who the most people available for which day. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. So I've selected 3 dates. These are the 3 days I can do. And then you can actually see the results. So look, Wednesday. So this obviously can be used for anything. It's good for scheduling, but it's also good for anything you want to vote on. These are just dates that we added in here. Those are the options we created, but it could be, what snacks do you want to add to the cafeteria or the vending machine, like, so you can see those results right there. And so that might tell you, very specifically or quickly, like obviously Wednesday here is the winner. So we're going to make this meeting on Wednesday rather than Thursday. Let's see. So D, is that the type of of feature you're wondering about? So I'm just going to assume that's a yes. But what I want to do really quickly is show you how to make that type of poll. So Emma's asking, that we have a whole bunch of basic forms set up on our demo site. you certainly can use them. We're actually going to create a page where you can select a bunch of forms that we've just pre-configured, so you can start off, you're basically 90% done. So yeah, definitely, you go ahead and request any of those forms, and you'll be able to, um, uh, we can just send you the file that you can actually upload into your site. Yeah, so D, anybody that, okay, definitely, I'm a, yeah, that's certainly a request, and go ahead and send an email to help@hubbli.com, um, and, and what we'll do is, we'll send you, basically the access to see all those forms, and then you can pick which ones that you want. Um, right, and D. So in regards to people seeing how it progresses, um, whenever they whenever they submit, they'll see. I'm not really sure. I'd have to take a look to see if it actually, if the results could be there, um, underneath. The list can be there, but I'm not sure if the results with that view. We'd have to take a look at that. But let me just show you how easy it is to create a poll like this. If we go into forms, where is it? Scheduling poll. I'm going to go ahead and start editing the scheduling poll. There's some landscapers outside the window here. I hope it's not too loud. They're chopping down something. Sorry about the delay. The again, when we do these webinars, it really slows down the browser. So forms are, there's a lot of processing that goes into the form. So it's just sometimes like the simplest thing can take forever to get going. So sorry about this long lag. And we got a 502. 502 happens just because again, because the browser is taking too long to process this. And it's because the webinar software is running. Here we are. Okay, so sometimes just if you get a 502 error, just hit refresh. Here we go. So what we did here is we created the name, like the just name of the person, and a little bit of an advanced trick here. If you go into a field and you click on the advanced tab, it says default value. So you can actually, this is how we get form fields to pre-populate. You can actually select different default values. It could be a date, a whole bunch of different things, user display name, user email, user login. So these are things that if the user is logged in, it'll grab that and place it by default inside of that field. So we've got the name there, and we've got it set to the display name, and then the meeting date. So how do we create this? Is we went over to advanced fields, and we clicked on poll. So if you want to create a poll, there's actually a poll field under the advanced fields tab. So you just click poll, and then that'll show up here. So now we've got a brand new poll field here. You just like the radio buttons, it's very much like the radio button, and you can even have poll types. You could have drop down radio buttons and check boxes, and we'll just call this poll. Well, we don't have to fill this out because there's already an example. But you just add in your choices, just like we were doing with the previous form, and then Bob's your uncle. Hit update, and you're all set. Really simple to do. takes minutes. Um, and then you can actually see the poll results here as well. If you add that poll feature, you get another setting here for poll results. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the poll results. So this is the admin view. So not everybody can see this, but you can actually take you could even take results between a certain date if you're getting really fancy with everything, and add filters. But I wouldn't think you're polling to the point where you have to use those tools, but they're there. And then let's just take a look at settings here. Polls. Poll settings. Okay, so you can actually play around with the poll settings. When you add that field, you get a new settings tab called polls. When you add a polls field to the form, and it says, you can display results after voting, add a poll results link to the form. So you can block repeat votes if you want to, and use an expiry date. So let's just take a look at that form again. Just going to refresh this. Yeah. So so here's a link. So if that setting is turned on, people can always click on this view results to see the results. So it's always there, and there's a link to go back to the poll. So it's in the settings, and when you add that polls field, when you add a poll to the form in settings, you've got features here for the polls, settings for the polls, and there you've got the option to add a poll results link to the form, and that's what we were just looking at right here. Poll results, view results, right there. Takes you right to the results page. Okay, so that's a couple of things that you could do with your hubbli forms. And again, same thing as before. You can take this form, and you can create. It'll always show up on your forms tab, and you can, if you want, you can just send the link to that page, in a newsletter or in an email to a group post to any specific members, or even a private message. Or you can actually take that page and add it to the menu. And you can add any form to any menu. You don't even need to create a new page, because every form has a page already. Just it's the default form page. So if you don't need to add any customization to the page that the form is on, like this one here isn't a custom page, it's just the standard form page, because whenever you make a form, there's a page created and the form is embedded into it. So if you notice here, it just says hubbli.com/scheduling poll. So all that happens automatically when you create the form. It goes into the forms, there's a button that links to that page. You can add this page to any menu you want at any time. So all you have to do is create the form, and then you can decide if you want to have a link to it on your main navigation or other places on your site as well. So hope that's been helpful to everybody. You can't see my screen. Oh my goodness, have I been just not? Oh, I really wish there was a notification here. That's annoying. So how? Okay. Well, I'm gonna do it again. Here we go. Share my screen. Okay, you can see my screen now, right? Okay. I wish there was like an audio notification when I don't hear anything when you guys type in the chat. So Here we go. So here we are in the form section. Again, here is I'm going to go. This is the form editor for that scheduling poll. And if you want to add the poll to that field, you go to Advanced Fields, and you click on Poll. So if I'm going to click on that, what you're going to see here is a new poll show up right there. So that, again, you can edit it just like the radio buttons. And it's really simple to do. Takes a couple seconds to throw together some options. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. But what's really important to show you is in the settings, there's this poll section here. When you add a poll, you get some poll settings. So here are some options that you can work with. So this is where you can decide if you want to display the results to everybody and add a link. So here's the add a poll results link option, right? And so if I jump back over to the form, I'll go back to the main form here. If you notice, there's this view results link. So if I click on that, that will show us the actual results. So Dee, I think you were asking about this. Can everyone see the results? So that's how you can do that. And it gives you another link back to the form. And so that's pretty much it. So when you add poll results poll to the form, and you add that field in the form editor, you get this option here for polls under the settings, and this is where you edit all that stuff. You can also get poll results here in the admin. So if you don't want to display the results to everybody, you still obviously as the admin get to see them. So that's visible, that's accessible to you in the form. When you go actually into the dashboard to that form that has the poll in it, you'll see it here. Same information. And then you can filter down the results on the right side here. So Dee, I'm not sure what your question is. You're asking if we can add this instructional view to the help menu. Um, what, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking for there. When you say instructional view, are you talking about a video like this, or is there, or one of the screens inside the poll? You know what? Actually, that question is probably better answered by just sending a message to help@hubbli.com. I actually have to got to get going myself. And thanks everybody for joining. And we will hopefully see you next week with your questions or ideas of how we can use Hubbli tools to get things done. Talk to you soon.